The Premier League title might be wrapped up, but the race for European places concludes today. Hello everyone and welcome back to the final part of the regular season of Season 5 here with Leicester City, potentially, depending on how things happen, our final episode in charge of Leicester. And well, we're going to, if it is, and there's no guarantee one way or the other, but we are going to make sure we go out with a bang. We are currently in 7th place, 2 games for us to go. Most of the teams above us have played their 37th match already. We are on for potentially we could finish in 5th. I don't think that's very likely. We have got a good chance of finishing in 6th. I'd be quite happy indeed with 7th, but we could finish as low as 10th, which would at least fulfill the board requirement for a top half finish, if nothing else. It's very, very tight though, depending on how things go. I mean, we're only 2 points behind Arsenal, only 2 points clear of Everton. We are playing Everton in the first game today. That is probably the most important of the two. So the 2 games since last time, a 3-0 defeat to Manchester City. First of all, they are, as you've just seen, Premier League champions, so that's kind of to be expected, really. And then a 2-2 draw with Newcastle, maybe a little bit disappointing, but quite a sort of battling performance, so I don't mind too much. We took the lead through Dilrosun, only his 2nd goal of the season. It was not as good as his first, but still quite good. And then they got 2 goals back, including from James Spencer, a regen who looks pretty good. And then we did equalise in the end through Sebastiano Esposito to make it 2-2 and get another point on the board. But it is Everton up next, and then Fulham on the final day of the season, hopefully, which will end in some European qualification. So obviously we'll play both those matches today, Everton up first, and then we'll have a look at the sort of end of season stuff. We'll have a look and see what jobs, if any, are available that we might be interested in doing. If there isn't really anything, then we'll I'm happy to stay at Leicester for another season. I think it's been a very enjoyable time. And then of course next time we will be back for the European Championships with France, which will maybe be over 3 episodes, probably most likely over 2, depending on how things go. And then we'll also see any sort of job stuff there too. So the team then for this one is going to be as follows. I mean, Robert Skov is back from injury in 7 days, which is just, I think, going to be a bit too late, really. He's going to miss the last game of the season, which is unfortunate for us, but there we go. Otherwise, the team then is going to be Neil Etheridge in goal, Ricardo Pereira, Kaglar Soyuncu, and Adam Webster, the main part of the defence that you would expect. Charlie Taylor is going to come in, though, because Josh Tyman has got himself a bit of an injury. He's not even going to be fit enough for the bench. We'll bring on Jayden Bogle for him, but Manuel Locatelli, Hamza Chowdhury and Dennis Pratt are going to be the midfield. Javairo Dilrosun on the left with Reece Nelson on the right and Sebastiano Esposito up front. This is the big one. If we can win this one at the King Power Stadium, both games luckily at home, this will really help us to cement our position and quest for European qualification. Right, I expect to win today, boys. I'm not entirely confident, but I do certainly hope for one, if nothing else. We just skip past the team. We just skip past Everton's team. Here it is. They've re-signed Ross Barkley, which is nice. Moise Keane still there as well. They've got Lewis up front. Ashley Lewis. Not quite as good as some of the other regens we've seen, but still quite decent. That 11 finishing is nothing special, so he'll probably score a hat-trick because that's just how the game works. But hopefully not. Anyway, they are coming forwards early on. Soyuncu heads it clear though, and Esposito is now on his bike running through. This would be great if we could get the lead early on. We do. Esposito with a cutback, and Reece Nelson charging in, not suspended anymore, and firing home to give us an early lead. Very, very welcome indeed. Esposito is so good at that. Not only does he score goals himself, but he loves running down and then putting the ball back across with accuracy. Reece Nelson with a header past Jordan Pickford, and we have got the lead. Corner comes in from Everton. They instantly strike back though. Joris Nanon, I'm assuming that's how you say it, heading home. 2 headed goals in the game, unfortunately. Only one for us. That's just, it's too easy. Everyone just standing around scratching their heads about how that's happened. The reason it's happened is because you've not been paying attention. Everton with a chance to take the lead pretty much straight after that. Ross Barkley with a free kick, which is just wide of the post. I mean, a draw is not too bad as far as we're concerned. It means we probably won't finish much higher than 7th, but I don't really mind too much regarding that one, as long as we do finish in at least 7th place. Need to see a bit more though. We're totally being outplayed in terms of shots on target so far, which is not really what you'd expect at the King Power. We usually are so deadly at home. But anyway, Everton looking to build from the back. Yerry Mina's being squeezed out, but it's left a lot of space for Benjamin Henriks to run into. And Pratt, though, has won it back on a yellow card, so that's a good challenge from him. Back to Locatelli. Gets it, and we're working it quite nicely down the left-hand side. Pratt puts it in. It's bounced down to Reece Nelson. He can't find the target on this occasion, though. Right, second half, need to see a little bit more. I think we're going to go positive because we haven't really imposed ourselves on the game particularly. Dilrosun is having an absolute shocker, as has been his sort of forte this season. Anyway, chance for us early on here. Reece Nelson doesn't get there. Chowdhury does. Back to Locatelli. And Nelson in a bit of space. He goes backwards though. Pereira running forwards, and it's a very tame effort in the end. Right, change needed straight away. Dilrosun has been awful. It's time for Ian Harness to harness the power of the left-hand side and hopefully give us the lead. Charlie Taylor is on the ball. A highlight before Dilrosun goes off. Esposito doesn't get there, but we're working it through the midfield. Chowdhury, Dilrosun in some space. Can he prove me wrong? Goes back to Pratt. Taylor's there. Back to Pratt. Taylor again. He's been mugged off, and now Everton are coming forwards, but Locatelli gets it back straight away. Dilrosun, can he find a ball across? He can. Straight into Pickford's gloves, and he's off. Get off now. Numbers up. Right, time is going away here. We could make another change. I'm not too devastated by dropping a couple of points here. Not all three, obviously, but I don't mind getting a draw. This wouldn't be too bad, as time is making the decision for me. We're not making any changes. There we go. 1-1 in the end, and it says don't be too hard on them. I'm quite happy with that performance. It kind of does the job. It means we're not going to really get much higher than 7th, but I kind of would rather just settle for that one. So we can, because Arsenal and Spurs have already played 37, depending on what they do on the final day of the season. Spurs form, by the way, absolutely shocking. I would very much like to get a job from one of these 6 teams rather than go abroad this season. We'll see if that's possible. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, depending on what Arsenal and Spurs do, we can still get 5th on the final day of the season. That is still a possibility. We are now looking more secure for getting at least 7th. Let's just work this out. So Wolves have still got a game to play, so they could get level with us. Southampton, though, given their goal difference, will not. So we will at least finish 9th, I would think. But we'll have to find out exactly what happens in 7 days' time with the Fulham game. Although we will just stay with this and see what happens with Wolves. Right, it's a 2-0 win for Wolves, which makes the picture a lot clearer. Our goal difference is slightly worse than theirs, but we need to beat Fulham. That's what we need to do. That is what we need to do, and we'll look at what results elsewhere cause. But yeah, Fulham, we've got to beat them on the final day of the season, which is actually 7 days away, so Skov might actually just be back, but probably only for the bench. Right then, final day of the season against Fulham then. It is all to play for still as far as European qualification is concerned, and really the rest of the league. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens elsewhere and what kind of shakes up in terms of job opportunities. We are going to go with the same team, except Ian Harness is going to play because Dilrosun has been very, very poor. Skov is he's returning to fitness imminently, not recommended to be selected. I don't see any point jeopardising the future of his career. Otherwise, though, the team is unchanged. Reece Nelson's got a very minor injury. I think it's a bruised ankle. He'll be fine. He can play. So, yeah, no other changes. Or actually, I say no other changes. I think that Josh Tymon is back to fitness. Indeed, he is. So he can come in place of Charlie Taylor. Right then, Fulham. Scott Parker still in charge, as he has been since the start of the game. And they've still got Zambo and Guisa, but otherwise a lot of differences in the team. They've got Max Meyer, they've still got Joe Bryan, and they've got Colin Nicholson on the right hand side, who is a very decent winger slash striker, Scottish international as well. Right then, let's see what we can do. I do expect nothing but a win. You didn't beat Everton, but you have to beat Fulham, really, if we want to secure European football. There's the table. We've got to keep our eyes on what is happening here, of course, but also around the grounds elsewhere. Arsenal and Spurs particularly of interest, but we're coming forwards, and a lead early on would be fantastic. Ricardo Pereira to put the ball across. He goes himself, and it ends up being bundled in. I thought it was going to be an own goal. It's Sebastiano Esposito, potentially his final game for the club. You never know. Great work from Ricardo Pereira. He's been a little bit hit and miss this season, but that is definitely a hit. He goes himself, tries to get it in, and Esposito with it just fully slides in on Zambo and Guisa. I'm not really sure that would really be allowed in real life, but we've got the lead and we've doubled it straight away. We are flying towards European qualification. Soyuncu heading home for his first of the season to make it to Arsenal, have taken the lead against Newcastle in their game. Leaping header from him from the Turkish international. Absolutely sensational. We are 7th as things stand because Arsenal are leading, but they've moved up to 5th. So Spurs now back in it. Right, Spurs are losing to West Brom. Their goal difference is massive compared to ours, though. So that's not really much hope. It's all kicking off. It's all kicking off. We are still going though, still trying to extend the lead in this one, put this one to bed. Everton have taken the lead in theirs. Demanta has raced through and he's got himself a goal. I'm pretty sure this is the guy that joined Aston Villa in real life in the January transfer window. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's the same guy. Anyway, he's running through and it's a pretty easy finish from him in the end, and this is sloppy. Good job we got that second. All action so far. Right, we're suddenly up to 6th. I'm not sure what's happened entirely. Arsenal, I'm guessing, are either drawing or losing now. We don't even have time to look at the latest scores because Fulham are coming forwards again. Bournemouth have equalised against Everton. It is all absolutely kicking off, and Fulham potentially can equalise here. They do not. Willock forcing a save, and let's just calm down a bit, shall we? Calm down. We're in that fantastic position where we've only had 1 shot on target, but we've got 2 goals. Always frustrating when the AI does that, but quite funny if it's us. Right, keep it up, boys. We're leading. Well done. That's all that really matters in the grand scheme of things, and we are at this stage in 6th place, which means we will qualify, whether we're here or not, for the Europa League. Harness, where's the ball? Esposito running clear to get a third would be lovely. He shoots at the goalkeeper and it does not go in. Right, an hour gone. Manchester City are completely killing any aspirations that Wolves had of getting into the top 7, which is fine. Ian Harness cracks the crossbar. That's the second time he's hit the woodwork, I think, in an episode. I mean, he's certainly got a bright future ahead of him. Esposito really should have sealed it in that one. Action-packed stuff, end-to-end. Callum Willock gets the ball in acres of space, runs inside. We're trying to close down the space. Nicholson's there. Etheridge is able to claim it. Right, Reece Nelson's having a pretty poor game, so we'll bring on Felicio. He's not really done anything in a wing position, but I just want to give him as much game time as we can. Alright, time is going away, and the other results seem to have sort of calmed down a little bit in terms of changing of scorelines. We are still, as things stand, in 6th place, which would be crazy. Could all change though with a Fulham equaliser, and they're certainly looking a little bit ominous here. Nicholson on the right hand side cuts in. We're not really making much of a tackle on him. Callum Willock to Atebo. Willock gets it back, and he looked a little bit offside to me, but clearly not. It's clearly going to count. Chris Willock firing home to, well, ruin the party, ruin the fun. I mean, that's just easy. These two lads just completely asleep. And with minutes to go, we're down to 7th, which wouldn't be the end of the world. Other results are going our way in that regard. We could have got 6th though, and I think it would be a little bit annoying to bin that off. We might as well bring on Dilrosun, see if he can make any difference. Tyman's having a shocker as well. All of our left backs not performing particularly well, but we'll bring on Charlie Taylor, and we might as well go. Let's go attacking. It's the final 5 minutes of the season. Go for it. Do something to try and get the win. Get creative. I'm not going to go very attacking because that never really works. But I think that is going to be it. And we're going to probably have thrown away 6th place. And, well, potentially, we can throw away 7th place. Fulham coming forwards for a winner. Nicholson, well, Etheridge tips it over the bar. It's not over yet. The corner comes in. We could potentially break. Felicio is running into lots of space. Esposito's there. If he can find a ball across, he doesn't. Should have gone a bit earlier, I think. And that is probably going to bring an end to the excitement. And indeed, it does. Leicester City 2, Fulham 2. We have to say it is a little bit disappointing. Arsenal draw their match. Everton draw their match. Southampton win theirs. They've come right up in the end. But let's have a look at the table. And we can see that we finish in 7th place. We could, probably should, well, not probably, definitely should have finished in 6th. That was there for the taking. We threw it away right at the end. It's disappointing. It is disappointing, but 7th is still very, very good, given the fact that we were promoted and we are officially the best of the rest. Only the top 6 above us. 7th place, not too bad. It may well mean European qualification in the form of Euro Cup 2. What's also going to be really interesting is what happens with these top 6 sides, because you would think whoever is in charge of Spurs, which is currently Max Allegri, and then Zinedine Zidane is in charge of Arsenal, having replaced Manuel Pellegrini, you would think that they are going to be in serious danger of getting the sack because the team has failed to qualify for the Champions League. There may also be question marks over the Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United managers, depending on whether they were expected to win the league. Only really Marcelo Bielsa, in charge of Manchester City, you would think is guaranteed to be safe at those top 6 sides. So, I mean, tell them they were disappointing. I'm going to say they're unlucky, because I don't want the last thing I ever potentially say to them to be that they were disappointing, because they're not disappointing, really. We finished 7th. That's very, very good. And Fulham were fighting to avoid relegation as well, so well done to them. They have stayed up. I think we can look back, as this answer says, with a lot of pride. It's been a pretty good season, all things told. It was a little bit disappointing in terms of that, in terms of the finish, and then it was kind of a little bit quiet towards the middle. But actually, in the end, 7th place is not too bad. And although we won't find out if we're going to qualify for Europe with that until all the sort of Europa League and Champions League and FA Cup are all dealt with, it's possible that we will. Obviously, we would far more likely have been able to do so if we got 6th, but I mean, that's what happens. Right then, let's have a look and see what is available in terms of vacancies before we do the end of season review type stuff. When that comes up, the Bundesliga is finished, the Premier League's now finished. I don't know about La Liga, Serie A and Ligue 1, but they can't be too far behind. Let's have a look and see. Well, the other vacancies haven't come through yet, but quite a few available in Germany, including Schalke and Borussia Mönchengladbach, which have got to be possible options. And it's actually an Olympic Games summer as well, which is going to be, there's going to be a lot of episodes involving France and a lot of episodes over the summer, I think. But France under-23s are due to take part in the Olympic Games. Do I want to take control? Of course I want to take control. I would love an Olympic gold medal. Okay then, so La Liga's finished as well, and Barcelona are available. I seriously doubt we'll get the Barcelona job. I don't know why we didn't get the Valencia job and the Lazio job. I think it's probably because we said I didn't want to take over until after the end of the season, so I don't know. But I still think the Barcelona job is probably out of our reach. But I am absolutely going to apply for the Barcelona job. Definitely don't think we're going to get it, but you've got to apply for that if that's available. No Premier League vacancies yet, though, although Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Zinedine Zidane are both insecure in theirs. So I think we're probably going to have to wait until sort of FA Cup, Champions League time. Let's just have a quick look and see what is happening with them. Right, so the FA Cup final is between Chelsea and Spurs. So the Spurs manager's job is probably going to hinge on that. Let's have a look at the old Europa League. Well, the Europa League is going to be between Valencia and Everton, which is quite interesting. Champions League is going to be between PSG and Liverpool. Potentially the Liverpool manager's job hinging on that one. So we'll go forwards a little bit and see what happens with some of these, and then we'll come back to it in the next episode, which will be the first part of our French summer at the European Championships. Obviously, I've accepted the job as the under-23s boss for the Olympics, but if we don't do very well at the Euros, then we're probably going to get sacked, and therefore we won't be able to manage at the Olympics. Hopefully we do quite well at the Euros. But anyway, overall best 11, quite a few of our players in there now, including Adam Webster, Charlie Taylor, good to see. I think that's probably mostly a hangover from last season. Doesn't look like anyone's really broken in from this season, except maybe Esposito, I'm not too sure. But we could just read it and see. Reece Nelson is one of the two new players, and Neil Etheridge was the other one, although they're both on the bench. End of season awards: Dennis Pratt gets player of the season. Goal of the season is Hamza Chowdhury. Manuel Locatelli signing of the season. I think I probably would agree with that. He has been very consistent. Some of our signings have been pretty bad. For example, Dilrosun not played very well. Young player of the season is Esposito, though, as well. A quick look at the stats. He's our top goal scorer. Only 14 for him this season, but that's still quite good. Pratt with the highest average rating. And, red cards. Just the 2 red cards, one for Chowdhury and one for Reece Nelson. Most assists, Dennis Pratt. So 7th place, you have to say it has been a pretty successful season. The board are pleased as well that we have done Was this is slightly ahead of schedule? I'm not too sure, but we are the best of the rest, and that is not too bad. So the expectation next season is that we finish mid-table, if indeed we do stay. I'm quite happy with that, because that's lower than what you expected this season, although it does look like that the owners are attempting to sell the club, but we'll just accept that one, because we may well not be here. But well, we're going to skip ahead. We're going to skip ahead because I didn't expect that one at all. Manager of the Year, the third Manager of the Year award we've won. Both of the last two times we had to win the league to do it. We didn't win the league this time, but we have been awarded with Manager of the Year. Well, thank you very much, dear voters, for recognising what can only be my managerial brilliance. I mean, if you believe that, you believe anything. Right, next season, boys, we're probably not going to be here. I hate to tell you that now, but top half again? A lot of players think we're being unrealistic for finishing in the top half, even though we just finished 7th, which, okay, mid-table, they're all fine with that, right? Okay, well, it's a little bit concerning when we meet the expectations that the board set us, and then they set lower expectations next season. But I guess second season syndrome, you don't want to fall into that trap. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We may still be here, unless we get the Barcelona job. That would be nice. Right, I have named my squad for the European Championships. We'll get to that in the next episode. In this episode, we're going to keep going looking for vacancies up to the point of our first international friendly, and then we'll come back with the first match of the group stage of the Euros. They will probably be quite compressed, and then we'll touch on any job stuff that happens as well. But we'll stick with this just to see if any other vacancies come up in the meantime. The board are going to upgrade the youth facilities of the club, which is very nice indeed. I did request that because that was one of the club vision things. Right, so we have got a transfer embargo, which I wasn't going to sign any players anyway because I'm looking to leave the club. But there is, 3 consortiums apparently interested in taking over, including one that wants to replace me with Stale Solbakken, which is a move that will apparently get the fans on side. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't want to be immodest or anything, but I don't really think sacking a guy who has got you promoted back to the Premier League and then finished 7th as the best of the rest, and replacing him with a guy who was an absolute disaster at Wolves is really the right way to win the fans over. I don't know. I think the fans are probably on my side with that one. But it's interesting, right? Tottenham have won the FA Cup in extra time. Does that mean that Frank Lampard has been dismissed? It doesn't look like it at the moment. I am a bit shocked that none of the managers from the top 6 have been sacked yet. How's the job security? Zidane and Solskjaer are still insecure, but it doesn't look like they're in danger of being dismissed anytime soon though. Commercial summary. I mean, it is interesting. With Real Sociedad, I'm not really sure they're necessarily the team for us, although they do have some decent players. Maybe one of these German sides might be worth applying for, maybe Schalke, I don't know. But I think obviously there'll be more jobs available after the European Championships, and all the sort of international managers, probably including us, will be sacked. The only 3 Leicester players who will be going to the tournament are Soyuncu, Pratt and Robert Skov, who has not been able to play for the last 3 months for us, but he's fit enough to go to the Euros. Right, well, Everton have won the Europa League, which means that they have qualified for the Champions League despite finishing in 9th, and I think that probably is going to spell the end of us getting into any European competition, maybe Eurogroup 2, I don't know. Well, let's stay with this until the Champions League final and see if that clarifies anything. Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, the Champions League finals obviously happened, and as a result of it, the best player in our team, the best player in our squad, the best player in the world is magically injured for 2 months and is going to miss Euro 2024. Kylian Mbappe. I mean, I'm sorry, he's torn his hamstring, has he? He's torn his hamstring. Who won this wonderful, wonderful competition? They did. PSG won 2-1 against Liverpool, but it has cost us our best player. He's not just our best player, he's the best player. And I mean, we can pick a replacement, but that's just kind of, you can't really replace him, can you? I mean, he's a striker, he's a winger, he's everything. There isn't really anyone else that I would even consider bringing. I mean, it's going to have to be Martial, because he can kind of do the same thing, but Anthony Martial is not Kylian Mbappe. That is just, I mean, that's just great, isn't it? That's going to make what was already quite a difficult prospect with France even even more challenging. It doesn't look like any of the top 6 in the Premier League are going to be sacked. So we've applied for the Barcelona job. I don't think we're going to get it. The Villarreal job is interesting. So is Schalke. So is Borussia Mönchengladbach. Maybe if they come in for us, we'll have to wait and see. But I think otherwise, we're going to wait until after the Euros, see if there's anything as a result of that. And if not, we may well just stay at Leicester, depending on how things go. And I was really looking forward to seeing Kylian Mbappe at the European Championships, but that is now not going to happen. And with that disastrous news, I think that is where we're going to end things here. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the end to our season with Leicester, and if you're excited for what's going to happen with France. I'm more sort of anxious now that we've lost the best player in the game. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, which will be the European Championships group stage and hopefully the first knockout game as well. And I will see you next time.